Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I say recently, it was probably about a couple of months ago now, I made a video on my channel talking about my top 10 Elphabas from Wicked the Musical. And I thought, let's do one about the Glindas. I actually thought the Elphaba one would be a lot harder, but I've really struggled with the Glindas one. So let's see how this goes. I have actually seen more than 10 Glindas, which is just insane. But as I did with my Elphaba video, I'm only going to talk about the top 10 of the more than 10. If you haven't already watched the top 10 Elphabas video, I'd highly recommend you go and watch that as well. This one I've organised a little bit more. In the previous one I didn't order them before starting the video, I just did it as I was going along and I feel like it was a bit of a hot mess. I've actually organised them for this video, but I feel like this one it's going to be harder for me to talk about them individually because as much as I love watching the character of Glinda, obviously, because she's a very integral part of the show as well, obviously I focus on the Elphabas more because I do. So I feel like this might be a bit harder. And I'm going to do a full disclaimer. I am not hating on anyone in this video. I respect them as people and performers. This is my personal opinion. So if you have a different opinion to me, that is fine. I respect that and I hope you respect my opinion. I only say this because I had a few comments in response to the last video that were a little bit aggressive, so I just wanted to clear the air there and say if you love a Glinda that I'm not the biggest fan of, that is fine, and that is the wonderful thing about theatre. We all have different opinions. If we all had the same opinions, it would be boring. Anyway, with all disclaimers aside, let's crack on with the list, and at number 10 I'm going to say Sophie Evans. I recently saw Sophie Evans in the London production of Wicked. She recently joined as Glinda and she is one of the youngest, if not potentially the youngest, Glinda to be in the London production as the principal Glinda. And I've done a video talking about like the recent trip to Wicked that I had, so that's on my channel if you want to go watch it for full opinions. I went to see the press night of this new cast and Sophie just wasn't the kind of Glinda that I really enjoy watching. As I say, no hate to any of these ladies, it's just opinion. Don't hate on me, please. As I mentioned in my vlog of seeing the show, obviously Sophie is very new. She is someone that's completely fresh to the production. So I think in some of the things that I didn't like about her Glinda, it's just going to be a case of time helping her to make these things a bit more natural or just to get into her own way of doing Glinda. At number 9 on my list, I'm going to say Rosa O'Reilly, who again I very recently saw in the London production of Wicked because she is the understudy for Glinda. So I went to see a super standby show, which is again vlogged, it's on the channel, go check it out. It was a super standby show, so I had Laura Pick as Elphaba and then Rosa O'Reilly as Glinda and Amy Fisher as Nessa Rose. Rosa is the understudy for Glinda, the current standby. I believe she's actually pregnant, so that is why I didn't see the standby for Glinda. I saw obviously the understudy Rosa. I think it doesn't help on this visit to the show that I was so excited to see Laura as Elphaba that obviously I paid way more attention to her, but there were a few moments of the show where Rosa had made some little mistakes and I just found her portrayal of Glinda, it just wasn't my favourite. At number 8 on my list, I'm going to say Sophie Linda Lee, who I first saw as Glinda way back in 2012. This was again in the London production and she was understudy at the time, and since then she did actually become standby Glinda, which was really nice because when I first started seeing the show, she was swing in the production. So it's always lovely to see someone be promoted up through the ranks. I remember being so excited for Sophie's Glinda show because I went to her first one. And it was always so exciting to know that you were going to a scheduled show. It was just really exciting. Obviously, all her family are in. She had, I think, a lot of students in to see her as well. So the atmosphere was awesome. She was such a fun and feisty Glinda, and I just remember absolutely loving her performance. Obviously, it's been a while now, so I can't remember the specifics of her performance, but I remember having a great time seeing her as Glinda. At number 7 on my list, we have Emily Tierney, who I saw in the UK tour of Wicked. I first saw her, I believe it was back in 2014. Yes, I saw the tour in Milton Keynes at start of 2014, and Emily Tierney was playing Glinda alongside Nikki Davis-Jones as Elphaba. I remember this was the first Glinda that I saw who was a lot taller than normal Glindas, and that's always a funny thing because I don't know why, I always just feel like maybe it's just the people that I've seen, they've always been a bit on the shorter side, so it was really funny to see a taller Glinda. I loved how she played the role with Nikki as Elphaba. I thought they were a great team together, and that was so exciting. It was my first time seeing Wicked outside of London, so that was super exciting. And yeah, she was just a brilliant Glinda. At number 6 on my list, I have Chloe Taylor, who used to be the standby for Glinda in London. I believe she was actually in the ensemble before that and was promoted to standby again, which is really lovely. And she was my second Glinda that I ever saw, which was really cute. I think the first time I saw her, it might have been with Nikki, again, Nikki Davis-Jones, when she was standby Elphaba. I could be wrong there. I mean, I might have seen Chloe with Rachel Tucker first. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But yeah, I loved her dynamic with both Rachel and Nikki, but especially Nikki, because they're really good friends outside of the show, like best friends. So to have that dynamic on stage of them just being besties performing together, that was adorable to watch. I really loved Chloe's singing voice and her mannerisms as Glinda. She's such a funny person anyway, so the comedy side of Glinda, it just came through really naturally for her. And yeah, good memories of like the first year I saw the show. At number 5 on my list, I have Karina Gillespie. I have no idea how to say her surname, and I feel really bad if I've messed it up. But I saw Karina on the second UK tour. Yeah, I saw her alongside Jacqueline Hughes as Elphaba, and this was on my birthday in 2015. So that was a really lovely day. Obviously, it was my birthday. I went up to Manchester to see them perform there because this was when Jackie was, I think, standby on the tour. She wasn't the main Elphaba then, and it just happened that she was going on for Elphaba on my birthday, and I was like, well, heck, I want to go and see that on my birthday. And then Karina happened to be on as well, so it was a standby show for my birthday, and that was super exciting. I just thought Karina was hilarious. That's the main thing I remember from like the show, just how funny she was. And that's a big thing for me, I think, with a Glinda. Like, you need them to have that comedy, and if it doesn't come naturally to them, you can really tell. But yeah, I remember having a fantastic day and really enjoying her Glinda. I feel like I said that a lot in this video, just really enjoying this person's Glinda. For number 4 on my list, we're going back in time and also back to London, because at number 4 I have Charlotte Scott, who was, I think, when I first saw her, maybe the second understudy for Glinda, maybe the understudy or second understudy, because obviously you've got the lead and then the standby and then the understudy and then the second understudy. I feel like she was the first understudy and then Sophie Linda Lee was the second understudy. That probably makes more sense. Yeah. So Charlotte Scott had a scheduled performance. It was in July, and we, like a group of us, like a group of my friends and I, found out about it like a few days before that, and we were just like so excited. This is so geeky. This is such a fangirl thing to say, but Charlotte was in the ensemble, but I loved what she did in the ensemble. There's a line in No One Wants the Wicked that I've forgotten, but it's going to come back to me. It's come back to me. It's when, so Charlotte, as a woman in the ensemble, obviously a woman, duh, she's standing up on the right hand thingy, stairwell, and she sings the "No One Cries, She Won't Return" lyric, and she used to do the most amazing growl on that line. And legitimately, I'm not just saying this because I'm a fangirl and I pick up on stupid things like this, but no one else has growled like that since Charlotte. Not that I've seen anyway, and I've pretty much seen every cast, like every fixed ensemble member in that track since then, like the main person that's meant to do that track. No one has done it. And I think I remember speaking to Charlotte once about this, and she was saying that it's actually part of the show. Like, it's not just a thing that she did, it's a thing that you're meant to do. And I'm like, well, obviously no one else can do it, or at least do it as well as she did it. So anyway, obviously I loved her in the ensemble anyway. And then when I found out she was going on as Glinda, obviously I was super psyched. And my friends and I day sat to see her, and obviously got to see her alongside Rachel Tucker, who's one of my faves. And it was wonderful. It's so lovely. I think the main thing about these shows is when like you are specifically going along to support someone, and not even just support someone, to just see them be amazing. And I've since seen her play Kathy in Singing in the Rain, and Hope in Urinetown, and Miss Honey in Matilda. She's just such a phenomenal performer, and I love watching her. And Glinda was like the thing that kicked it off. I mean, her ensemble track was the thing that kicked it off, but I just think she's so talented, and honestly, she needs a lead role. She deserves it. Anyway, now that I've rambled on for 5 minutes about Charlotte Scott, let's go on to number 3, which will be Cara Lindsay. Cara Lindsay. I'm going to say it like that. I saw her on Broadway when I went to New York in 2015. I went to see Wicked. I wasn't planning on seeing Wicked in New York, and then Rachel Tucker announced that she was obviously going to do Elfie on Broadway, and I was like, well, great, now I have to go see Wicked in New York.
Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you.
It was an amazing experience to see the show in New York. Obviously, it's home, and Cara was hilarious. I feel like the American Glindas are really allowed to go crazy on the comedy. Not only that, she had the emotions for me, especially in like No One Was the Wicked. That's such a pivotal moment for me. If you've watched any of my Wicked vlogs, you'll know that I picked that out as a moment specifically. I remember her popular just being mental, full on crazy. Yeah, I love the chemistry that her and Rachel had. That's another really crucial factor, is the chemistry between the Glinda and the Elphaba. Like, sometimes if you happen to see a show where one of the performers, if they've not performed together before, or they might not be the closest of friends, like outside of the show, if that makes sense, you can tell if that chemistry isn't quite there. Thankfully, I could with Cara, and she was just hilarious. I mean, I would love to see her in a show again. I think, sadly, when I'm next in America, she's not doing a show, I don't think, but yeah. Or if she wants to come over to London and do some stuff here, that would be cool. Ooh, number 2, who's it gonna be? Number 2, I'm saying Susie Mathers, who I saw in the 10th anniversary cast of Wicked London.
Though it's the toughest case I've
She did it in Australia, I think it was. I think it was Australia. That would make sense because she's Australian. Yeah, so she joined the cast obviously last September, with Rachel Tucker coming back. Do you sense a theme here? Like, my favourite Glindas have been with Rachel Tucker. Yeah, I loved her. I loved her portrayal of Glinda. I know some people didn't, my friend Sam in particular. I find it so funny that we have such differing opinions, yet we can be such close friends. That's how it should be. You shouldn't, like, make friendships just because you have all the same opinions. It's good to have some different ones. Anyway, that's beside the point. Susie, I thought she was fantastic. She ticked off everything that a Glinda should be, in my opinion. Like, obviously, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if yours differs. It's fine. Yeah, I loved watching her in the London production, and yeah, she was an amazing singer. Showed all the emotions that I wanted her to show. Her singing was beautiful, and I really enjoyed watching her. And I actually saw her perform. Rachel Tucker did a little concert recently in southeast London, and Susie was there, and they performed for good together. And even without all the like special things of the Wicked stage, all the costumes, the lighting, etc., it was beautiful to hear them singing it together just in a pub garden. It was lovely. And finally, at number 1, I mean, you might have guessed it already by now, because if you know me, you know there's one person that's missing off that list, but it's Gina Beck. I almost didn't want to put Gina at the top of my list because I felt like that was such a cop-out to have Rachel Tucker at the top of my Elphaba list, and she was the first Elphaba I saw, and then Gina Beck at the top of my Glinda list as well, but I don't care. My list, my rules.
I do believe I have been changed for the better, and because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
I loved watching Gina as Glinda, and obviously I said this in my last video, it doesn't have to be the case for everyone, but I think with a show like Wicked, when there's this weird power over you that you kind of fall in love with the show, and you might not, that's fine, but for a lot of people, I know this is the case. You fall in love with the show, you go a bit crazy, you might see it a lot, and that first cast is always quite special to you, you know? Like, you have fond memories of it, and for me that's certainly the case, because when I first started seeing the show, I went mental. I saw it too many times, and I have a lot of happy memories of seeing the show in 2012, and obviously these memories include a lot of Rachel Tucker and a lot of Gina Beck. They were the first performers that I went to stage door to meet, and I don't know, it doesn't have to be the case, because someone commented on the last video saying, it doesn't have to be that your first Elphaba or whatever is your favourite. That's fine, you can have your opinion. But for me, it really is, because the whole cast that I saw initially were just so wonderful. I have a ridiculous amount of happy memories of seeing them. So, of course, Rachel Tucker's going to be at the top of my Elfie list, and Gina Beck is going to be at the top of my Glinda list, because they're lovely ladies. Not in the Les Mis kind of way, but they are lovely. And whenever I think of Wicked and my happiest times of seeing the show, it's definitely those two that come to mind in terms of heading the cast. So yeah, and I'm actually going to see Gina Beck in Matilda tonight. She's taking over the role of Miss Honey. Obviously, you'll be seeing this video in the future. Maybe that Matilda vlog will already be out. If so, you can find it linked below and on my channel. Yeah, I was so excited. Literally, when I first saw Matilda in 2013, I thought, Gina Beck needs to play Miss Honey. And now she is. I'm so excited. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something about me and my Wicked fangirl self. Do let me know in the comments below who your favourite Glindas have been, because I would love to know. If you've enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of me in the future. I make a lot of theatre content, stuff like this, and then like theatre vlogs, going out to shows and stuff. So if you like theatre, hopefully you'll like my channel, and if you are a massive Wicked fan like myself, you should definitely come and subscribe. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you very soon. Bye!